Korean journalism.
Well, the time has just gone 7 minutes past 9 a.m. as we continue with the broadcast. If you have just tuned in, I am Inayat standing in for Julia Ali on News and Views this morning as we stay in the company of our listeners and viewers on Salam Media and also One Nation 88.9 FM out of Polokwane, who normally join us at this time of the morning. We welcome you to the show. It's wonderful being back with you after the month of Ramadan, and we have now resumed a normal programming once again on Salam Media in News and Views, and once again unpacking the many issues that we are faced with on a day-to-day basis. Now, the one issue that we have been talking about for a long time, and since the inquest had actually started, and this is anti-apartheid activists. We are talking of the late Imam Abdullah Haron, rahimahumullah, the inquest into his murder. And this was taking place in Cape Town. And since this inquest or the case was reopened, we've covered a lot talking to his son, and we've spoken to his daughter as well. And we've now learned about the judge hearing closing arguments at the Imam Haron inquest. And this is the reason why we are talking with Khalid Shamis, who is the grandson of the late Imam Abdullah Haron, rahimahullah. Khalid, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, and we do appreciate your time with us this morning right here on Salam Media.
Assalamu warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Nice to be here. Belated Eid Mubarak to everyone.
And same to you as well. And I'm sure that, the big talking point, and since this inquest had opened, and even prior to that, has been, the family seeking closure into the killing of your late grandfather. And now we've learned about closing arguments that the judge has heard with regard to the inquest. So if you can just provide us firstly with an update that since, the reopening of the inquest into the death of your late grandfather, what had transpired and where are we at this point in time?
Yeah, so I have to first apologize because I'm driving. I have my headphones, so I might lose connection around the mountain at some point. I'm on my way to the High Court this morning. So the inquest started in November last year. Or was it October? It was 8 days of inquest proper with witnesses on the stand and experts giving their advice around, there was a forensic pathologist and people giving evidence about the security police. There was a constable who was there, who was a security warden at the time. My family were there. They took a stand and told their story, basically, to the judge. That took 8 days. It was kind of intense, grueling, long days, but quite rich, and quite the atmosphere was quite rich, full of these kind of memories of the Imam and stories of the past, many of which hadn't been heard and also brought together, right, to in this one space, speaking to our modern government. And so since then, now is Howard Varney and his associates at Web Events are presenting their summary of those 8 days and their final kind of summation of the 8 days of last year and their recommendations of going forward. So for the judge to consider. So remember, this is not a prosecution. It's an inquest just to find out and to establish a truth and to make that the record, right, the historical record for the country. As it stands, the record is that Imam Haron died. He had a heart attack whilst in custody for terrorism acts under the Terrorism Act. Right, that's the kind of official record at the moment. That obviously has to be overturned because we know he was murdered, he was tortured, and he was killed through lots of other ways. We know that, but it needs to be put onto record. So it's not a prosecution. So it's not about any kind of compensation or anything like that. It's just for the record, to put things straight.
Yes.
So now, so yesterday was the first day of the summation, and today the lawyer, Haron, will be giving his recommendations to the judge.
Yes, and also I think what is interesting is throughout this inquest, because we have learned that there is only one person, Johannes Berger, who is the only surviving officer, at this point in time, with regards to, who was actually present at that point in time. He was the only surviving member of the police, and who had contact with your grandfather while he was in detention. And what is also interesting to note that, some of the claims that he had made, that he knew nothing about political detainees and how they were treated by the security branch.
Right.
But there were experts that were actually called in to unpack and to unpiece, what had actually taken place, and what these experts have been saying. Like, for example, you had a person like pathologist Dr. Steve Naidu, who gave his professional opinion and his testimony, talking about the injuries to the body and all of this, that were, how they were caused and how they were probably as a result of being repeatedly assaulted. And I'm sure the judge has taken all of this into account as well, Khalid.
Yes. Yeah, inshallah. I mean, it looks like he's very amenable, he's open, he's got questions, he's curious. And I think it's his job now is basically to take all the evidence that's presented to him and produce a report with it will take a while. They're saying anywhere between July and September he'll come back. And then that will be like the final day. It'll be a public, presentation of his not of his findings, of his report, of his judgment. And he seems like the Judge Klofe has been quite amazing throughout this whole process, asking very pertinent questions, just clarifying issues and just wanting to know, the core of the truth, so that it's clarified for him in his mind when he makes his judgment.
Right. You mentioned you're on your way to the High Court. What is likely to happen today?
Yeah, so today, they booked 2 days at the High Court. Today was day one. They wanted to...
Yes, I think we have lost Khalid Shamis, and he did mention that he is driving on his way to the High Court, but I think we've got a gist of what had actually transpired, and when the final judgment is going to be made on this matter, in terms of the outcome of this inquest. We will follow up with the family. Unfortunately, we have lost Khalid, so we're going to go for a break now, and when we come back, we will still continue. We've still got quite a bit to unpack. We're still talking about Sudan. We're talking about British troops flying in to evacuate Sudanese, and also with regard to looking at Rajveer Singh and a 19-year-old from Cape Town. And we are talking about a community hero. So all of that still to come, and also taking a look at the rebranding of Minara Chamber of Commerce. So all of that still to come on the show right until 10 a.m. But right now, we're going to go for a break.